Welcome to the Living Resource Project. I am so excited to be here today with my friend, certified music therapist, Tracy Laslop. Welcome to the Living Resource Project, Tracy.
Hi, Tracy. Really excited to be here.
So good to see you. The Living Resource Project is a compassionate communities initiative that serves to remind us that we already have what it takes to show up for the grieving and the dying among us, and that we need each other in this journey of life through to death. So, as you know, Tracy, I'm super inspired by creative ways to invite people to deepen their intimacy with death and grief and bring upon more of a conscious process through dying and grieving. And that's exactly why I reached out to you. So I was wondering if you can share a little bit about the inspiring work that you do in the end of life space.
Sure. So, I have the Canadian Association of Music Therapy definition that I'll read out, and then I'll say a little more about what that means in palliative. So, it says music therapy is a discipline in which certified music therapists use music purposefully within therapeutic relationships to support development, health, and well being. Music therapists use music safely and ethically to address human needs within cognitive, communicative, emotional, musical, physical, social, and spiritual domains. So, in essence, what we do with those domains in palliative and hospice care, mostly what I would say that I'm doing is holding space for all of these kind of domains and for the people who are dying and their loved ones. So, I tend to sit by the bedside with my guitar and sing people songs that are their favorites, that really resonate with them. And a lot of this is for reminiscence and emotional support, bonding with loved ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just have so many images ingrained in my memory of you playing for people, either at the bedside or at the piano.
Hmm.
And they're my most profound and moving memories involve you. And you know that because quite often I'm lurking behind you, recording you. It's been so amazing to really see you step into this role and to just see how supportive music therapy is for all the reasons you just mentioned, really supporting that holistic palliative care where you're tending to the well-being of people on this journey in so many ways. Music is so powerful.
Hmm. It's so closely linked to memory. I try to help people with a life review a little bit with music. What were your most treasured songs from when you were young? What kind of keeps you going now? What is inspiring to you? What's comforting to you? It really can be so powerful a tool for therapy as well as just, again, holding that space in the room, giving people an opportunity to connect with each other, their loved ones. Yeah, it's so cool.
So beautiful. It really is. Like you say, it not only music, it's sort of a space holder and it evokes so much. I don't know if you've watched the series Shrinking on TV. It's like
Oh.
oh, it's really well done. And Harrison Ford plays an old psychiatrist. And there's a scene in the movie where this bereaved dad, he is trying to companion himself in his grief and support his daughter with her grief. And they're both having a hard time accessing their big emotions around the death of this mother and wife. What they do is
Mm.
put on really evoking music on their headphones and just bawl their eyes out.
Yes.
And that's this permission they give themselves to just connect with their grief through music and then
Yes.
get it all out. So it really can hold space and then really evoke people to get in touch with feelings that otherwise may be harder to access.
Exactly. I've frequently been at the bedside playing music. It just facilitates that emotional release. And like they'll say, wow, I feel better. I didn't know I was holding on to all those tears. And that's really beautiful. Yeah.
I love that you brought up your musical playlist legacy idea. Maybe you can share a little bit about the legacy playlist where you invite people to choose a song per decade.
I did a kind of introductory to music therapy course at the University of Alberta where I did my undergrad, and that was one of our projects was to make a soundtrack of your life was what it was called. It was about phases of your life. It doesn't have to be decades, but decades is a good kind of way to divide it as well. But dividing your life up into phases as much as you can and choosing a song to reflect each phase. And this can be as little as 3 songs, it can be as long as you want it to be. But the idea is, again, that life review. And it's something you can just sit and listen to all the way through and really reflect on your life. And I think that's very important for the dying, right? Look at it and see your whole life reflected in music. If you're looking back on your life with things like regrets or confusions or like, what was I thinking at that time? Finding it in a song can really encapsulate that for you and really bring comfort and relief. Like, oh, this is what I was going through at that time, and it's okay that I made these decisions. It's okay that this is was happening.
I'm really feeling with what you're sharing, and I never have thought of it that way until this moment, how normalizing and validating music can be, because it takes away that feeling of isolation. If even just
Yes,
one person gets it, which, if you're connecting with the song, it's the person singing the song or the person that's written the song or both who it can offer you this sense that what you're feeling is normal and someone else has been there or is there, and so you're not alone.
yes.
And also, life review is something that is talked about so often in end of life care. And I'm sure for people that have a strong connection to music, having a musical life review is just almost effortless. Memories and experiences, music just, like you say, brings them to the surface. And the life review act is just so incredibly powerful for reasons you've said. It allows people to share memories and find meaning and connection and pleasure, but also the stuff you touched on too, like the idea of music bringing up grief or
Hmm.
people connecting with loss or regret. And one of my favorite metaphors for the end of life journey is like any journey, you hope that people will travel light. And whenever we have things in our suitcase that are heavy, like grief and regret, it makes the journey harder. So, really, in this conversation, it's reaffirming that music can be a powerful way for people to connect with loss and connect with their regrets and express whatever reaction comes up in their body around those things. Because when they do that, then they're not carrying it all themselves and they're traveling lighter. So music is so powerful.
I just had this image too of someone carrying a suitcase but whistling on the way,
Oh,
it's not in your suitcase, it's in you. So, yeah.
oh, I like that. That's good. Oh. So Tracy, you already touched on this, but maybe you can share a little bit about the path that led you to this work that you're doing today with supporting the dying and their people with music.
So, first off, my connection to music therapy began when I was just trying to find my way in early university, being 18, 19, and trying to figure out what I actually wanted to do. And I'd started off in sciences and psychology, but then learned about music therapy just from looking at different career options. It was like a bomb went off in my head. I can combine my love of music and my musicianship with therapy and psychology. This is what I want. I moved to Vancouver to do music therapy school and went through the whole program. When it was time for our internship, which is 1,000 hours long, you have to really commit to what you're doing. Our internship supervisor and the co-founder of the music therapy program at CapU is Nancy McMaster, who actually recently passed away. I should mention that Nancy McMaster led the development of music therapy in Canada. This was back in the 70s. She started everything and pioneered this journey along with her co-founder of the program at CAP, Carolyn Kenny. She suggested to me in her office, we were sitting there together, and she said, "What do you think of palliative care music therapy. At that time, I hadn't really considered even going there. I said to her, Nancy, I'm terrified, but if you suggest this, then I'm going to try it. If I feel scared of something, that means that it's actually something I should go for, you
Mm.
know? And I did fall in love with the work, and my internship supervisor, like at the site, was just so wonderful and so humorous, so light and bubbly, and it really just encouraged me to be my kind of enthusiastic self in this work, and it's paid off. It's been such a great journey of just bringing my whole self into some work that I'm doing. Like yeah, it's
Beautiful. That's what it's about. That's that secret sauce when you can bring your whole self to what you're doing. You feel that. I mean, I feel that when you show up, and that's really where things become quite unforgettable. Now, was that Megan Jackson that
yes, it
was
was,
your
yes.
mentor? Yeah, let's give a big shout out to Megan Jackson because she's a pretty exceptional human. You guys really complemented each other and really had a lot of overlap in how you see the world and see the role,
Yeah.
at least from what I could see.
And that's what Nancy did. She paired two people together, the supervisor and the intern, who would really flourish together. And I think it was just that magic combination of supervisor intern as well as the type of work. And she saw something in me that I didn't see in myself at the time, about that I could have the emotional range to support people at the end of their life, where that emotional range is just so widened.
What
It
a
was
remarkable mentor to see that in you and encourage it out so tenderly by really allowing you to feel into if this was something that you would be open to. It sounded like a gentle invitation that's worked out beautifully.
I owe so much to Nancy and to Meg. I really feel so fortunate that they were my mentors in this work.
I'm wondering, Tracy, if there's a particular story that stands out about the work that you do. Maybe it's a situation that surprised you or somehow deepened your understanding about the end of life journey. If you have a story you want to share.
I do, and I have permission from this lady. I remember fondly, she was such an artist. She was a painter, she was a crocheter. She gave me this little bookmark once that she made that was crocheted, and it was just these little hearts, kind of a string of hearts. And it was just so beautiful, this little trinket that I still have and place in my books. And she would tell me these stories about her life and about her journey to being independent. She had gone through a separation when she was 50 and had traveled across Canada from Ontario to come all the way to Vancouver and start a new life. And she spent 25 years in Vancouver on her own, you know, just relishing in being an independent woman. And she just spoke so fondly of that time. And she was a really big fan of Don McLean, so like American Pie, that album. And she asked me about the song Crossroads, which was just a really powerful song for her, you know, reflecting her life. This is just the chorus of the song that really resonated with her, and she just cried and cried while I played this. And I remember her every time I hear this song. You know, I've heard of people like me, but I never made the connection. They walk one road to set them free and find they've gone the wrong direction. But there's no need for turning back, 'cause all roads lead to where I stand. And I believe I'll walk them all, no matter what I may have planned. And so when I played that song for her again, she just wept and wept, and she said, "This is the song that just really encapsulates my journey." through life and getting to the place that I'm at now. And I'm so proud of my life and so proud of myself for what I've accomplished and what I've done. And it was just so wonderful. And she asked me, I think it might have been in that session, she asked me, "Can you play this at my funeral?" And I said, "I'll be there." And I was. I was there. And it just was amazing. I wore a sweater that I had worn at a session. She was such a fashionista, and she said, "I love that sweater. Like, it's such a great sweater." And I wore that at the funeral, and I told everyone, like, this is the sweater that she told me she loved, and I'm here. I'm just so fortunate that I get to be here and connect with her, in the afterlife this way.
Thank you so much, Tracy. That is just such a moving and beautiful story. I really appreciate you sharing. So, Tracy, if there's one thing that you would like the dying and their people to know, what would it be?
I know I gave you an answer to this already, but another thing that I thought of today was if you like music, you're a musical person. And for those that love music, at the end of your life, finding what music or what sound connects you to your loved ones, facilitates a review of your life in song, connects you spiritually to something, just find that. Find that music that connects you. And if you love music and you want to connect to these things, just go for it. There's so many resources out there to find your favorite music, and you can ask people to help you locate it, and just anything that brings you comfort, just go for it.
Thank you. That's so simple and such a important invitation. Let's talk about the future, dreaming into what's on the horizon and the future of death care. What do you think is needed? And do you have any ideas how we can meet death with more acceptance and more grace?
This may be a bit of a simple answer as well and kind of related to the last answer, but I just think simply just ease of access to music for anybody who needs it or wants it. With technology the way it is today, it's great. We have everything at our fingertips, and for younger people especially, this is much easier. We have Alexa, we have Spotify, we have everything that we might want. However, cost can be prohibitive, and elders don't always have access to this technology. I sometimes get around this by finding the Stingray radio on the TV. It's in like the 400 channels on cable, and you can find just streaming music of whatever genre you like. I would really love for there to be more things like libraries of CDs, LPs, and music therapists can really help with this. And I think, yeah, having a music therapist in every hospice would just be, the dream. That's the dream.
I agree. It seems like it's one of the first things that gets cut when budget issues come up. And that's really upsetting, to be honest, just because, like I said before, from everything I've seen, all the interventions to increase comfort at end of life for the dying and for their people, music is right up there. I know it's not for everybody, but for the people that it is for, it really is so effective. I think that it should be a mandatory position as well. If I had my way, it would be.
It's that mode of expression. People need to express things that are occurring for them as they're near the end of their life. There's so much emotionally and spiritually to express, and arts are that mode of facilitation for so many people. For that to be more integrated into death care would be just so wonderful.
That would be so wonderful because we so often defer to talk therapy,
Hmm.
which is effective and it has its place. But that's just one way. There's so many other ways, like you say, where people can connect to and express emotions.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's something that just came to mind. And again, I hadn't made this connection till just now, but I remember reading a study. It was published in 2007 in the Pain and Symptom Management Journal. And it was a study that looked at a number of individuals that were just about to die. And they found that half of them were okay with their dying. and the other half were having a hard time. So
Hmm.
they looked at the people that were okay with their dying and explored why. The study is called Healing Connections, conducted by Balfour Mount, a leader in palliative care in Canada. He found that what made dying okay was connection to one of four areas. As long as you have connection in one of these areas, it safeguards you and allows you to die with more ease. And the areas were a connection to the self, another was connection to others, and the third one was the phenomenal world, and that included music. So it
Hmm.
was like if you have a connection to nature or music, and this in and of itself can really make dying okay, which I think is everything that you're saying. And then the last category was to a god or a goddess or an ideal, such
Hmm.
as love. But just really speaking to connection in just one of those areas can really change the way that people meet death.
That's so cool. The phenomenal world. I love that.
Phenomenal world. Yeah. So, Tracy, just to end our time together, we're going to pull a gratitude card.
Yes, I'm so excited.
It's always nice to end with gratitude. It's a radical act. These are such cute cards. I love these cards. They're from the schooloflife.com and they have these like little black and white images on them.
Oh,
Really beautiful photos. So I'm just going to shuffle them here and I'm going to pick one for us. All right, let's see what we got, Tracy. It looks to me like a person that's we'd probably consider elderly. And then I
yeah.
see someone in the background. And on the card, it says, we still have quite a lot of time left.
Hmm. Yeah. We still have quite a lot of time left. I love that. That just makes me think of just how precious the time can be just in between diagnosis and death or whatever is happening. And I'm just filled with this image too of just being in the room with a whole family gathered by the bedside and me holding that space. The therapeutic bubble, we sometimes call it in music therapy, where you hold everybody in a bubble and just precious time. We still have time left in those moments. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good quality palliative care. Just honoring life is there until the minute it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tracy, thank you so much for being here. I am so grateful to know you and call you my friend. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here today on the Living Resource Project.
Thank you, Tracy, for talking with me.
Uh, and if you want to learn more about Tracy, you can see the show notes. There'll be information on how to contact Tracy and the more on the amazing work she does. So until we meet again.
Thank you so much.